This is the Renegade Teacher blasting out with another transmission. Folks, I have emerged once again from the dark side of the moon, reestablishing a connection with Earth so that we can continue our journey through the stars on that quest for rationality in public education. Folks, I'm excited to have you with me tonight. This particular video or rant, if you will, is going to focus on doing some cleanup from the previous few videos as I listened back to some of my material from the last two videos. I realized that it's very necessary to revisit these issues, to put some of these things to a new level of completion in terms of our coverage of them. And where I want to start first is with doing a little cleanup to my last video on the quantification of the grading mandate on teachers. I came across as a little negative, maybe perhaps very negative, about the time spent or the time necessary to correctly grade student papers, to provide that valuable feedback. And I think I need to clarify, and I don't really know how I missed clarifying this before, but spending time giving constructive feedback to students is exactly how teachers should be spending their time. In terms of when you look at the full scope of everything put on teachers, grading papers should be one of the things that we force teachers to have time for in their day, and not make it something that is 100% necessary to carry home and let dominate the remainder of the short days that we have. Teachers, I don't want to come across as too negative here, but I already hear the criticisms from the rant here about quantifying the grading mandate. In terms of the examples that I used, I felt like I could hear some maybe colleagues or just acquaintances that I have, some of the devil's advocate kind of arguments against my points, and I know that I can name some of them for you and perhaps maybe enlighten you as to why they are not valid. In terms of the time spent per question, I mentioned in the video about spending 4 seconds per question on average. In terms of an argument against how I set that example up, I know that one argument would be simply assign less questions, but you need to realize that all of my figures are relative, and it's a simple thought experiment. Many of us spend many more than 4 seconds looking at questions. Sometimes you find yourself looking at one question for multiple minutes. It's, again, don't get too tied up in the details with my examples here. I also can hear the argument, why not let the students trade and grade the homework? And my response to that nowadays is, yeah, right. Folks, don't take this the wrong way, but you may not quite get it in terms of if you're not in the trenches doing teaching every day. Things as simple as students stapling papers correctly are now an issue. I see this all the time. I hear about it all the time. Things as simple, again, as stapling papers in a reasonable fashion. I've even had students, I'm talking about, 15 to 18-year-old students who are completely lost when it comes to how to load a stapler with staples. And when you go through enough of these struggles, these unexpected, mind-blowing things, you really start to lose faith in a lot of the ability of an educator now to delegate responsibilities the way that teachers have for many decades. We've witnessed, or at least I've witnessed, over the last 8 years, I can personally attest to a decay, a very visible, obvious decay in the not only the social ability levels of our students, but also the basic life skills, things that a high school student should have absolutely no trouble with. It's quite amazing. But trading grade, if we're to be completely honest, refuting, the examples, taking into consideration how you could refute the quantification of that I used last time in my video, if you're going to tell me to trading grade the homework, to be completely honest, trading grade is like nowadays is like assigning a reading assignment to the students in a language that is only spoken in a 6 square kilometer portion of the Amazon basin in Brazil, by a small tribe never before contacted by the outside world, and whom communicate via a series of pops and clicks, produced by tapping wooden spoons against their larynx at intervals determined by the current position of the moon. Folks, we can't get so tied up in the details here that we've lost sight of the biggest problems that we face in schools, and that is students with absolutely no structure being provided to them at early grades, which results in this complete meltdown of any hope of them being able to develop higher order thinking skills in secondary grades. So I'm going to move on in hopes of not taking too long to get through my material. I want to back up here to another video, the previous one I did on the STEM movement. I realized as I listened back to that material that STEM and STEAM are simply a rebranding issue. It's a unnecessary rebranding. The things done in STEM are simply normal content taken to oftentimes illogical extremes. So I dug back in to the website where I sort of lost my mind when I tried to get through a section in that video. The website I was on was called alleducationschools.com, and the section where I kind of derailed was where they have a section on their website that is a list of resources for, current and future STEAM educators. And as I was reading through it, I hit the section, why earn your master's degree? Again, I kind of flipped my lid, but I want to read this to you, try to be a little more calm and collected. It says, if you're currently working as a teacher but you want to move beyond traditional classroom curriculum into the exciting realm of science, technology, education, arts, and math, STEAM, you'll be preparing to teach for a creative as well as technology-driven world. Earning your master's degree can equip you with the skills required to meet the challenges facing STEAM educators as they help students understand the importance of arts and of STEM in their daily lives. Here are more great reasons to earn your master's degree. Okay, I'm going to read you this list and then reflect. It says you can move into into leadership career roles, escape from the classroom. It says here the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says teachers with a master's degree not only earn more than those with a bachelor's, but are more employable. Consider this. Education administrators with a master's earned $23,000 more annually, while secondary school teachers with a master's earned on average of $11,000 more annually. The ratio of employed administrators with a master's was 46% as opposed to 23% employment with bachelors. Folks, why are we, why is this talking so much about administrators having anything to do with the STEM or STEAM mess here? This is concerning that the biggest bullet point here is about employability and earnings. It also says, best of all, wow, this is a doozy. It says, best of all, you'll improve your classroom skills and see better student learning outcomes. Bullshit, folks. We have already established on this channel that is a complete falsification of the facts. Earning a master's degree, there's no science to back up that it actually increases your students' performance or anything like that. We've already established, and here they seem to just openly admit it, that earning the master's degree for most classroom educators is simply a way to fix their salary to somewhere near what it should have been already. I've got another section that I want to read to you. It's a little shorter, but it's got 4 bullet points, and it says how to make your classroom a STEAM classroom. Now, this is from the same website, and I want you to consider, just keep an open mind here, but also keep a critical lens as you hear this. It says add hands-on projects to your students' day to let them be more involved. Well, folks, I think this is surely new material. We've never done hands-on projects in school before. Maybe we should read on. It says include real-world problem-solving activities. Wow, we've never done that either. This sounds completely new, doesn't it? Here's a completely new one. You've never thought of doing this before. It says encourage question asking. You can't be serious, can you? Is this real? Pinch me. Am I in the Matrix? The 4th bullet point says let students make decisions about the projects they're assigned. Folks, these are the 4 bullet points that supposedly make your classroom a STEAM classroom. This is a joke. This is a complete farce. It is an unnecessary rebranding of the things that should be going on in classrooms anyways. We need to make a clarification here that technology and engineering, and again, take no offense by this, but they are not equivalent to science and mathematics in terms of, or art for that matter, in terms of their basicness, their simplicity in terms of how far they go down in detail to the nature of reality. Science, mathematics, and art are a more fundamental level of knowledge, whereas technology and engineering are emergent fields of study and application. And it is simply not fair or accurate to put them on the same level via this unnecessary use of acronyms and rebranding. STEM and STEAM is trying to dance the line between higher education and the career tech world. And I've got news for everyone here, folks. The career tech world does not need STEM, does not need STEAM. The career tech world is already established and successful. It's already a thing without STEM, because the career tech world doesn't waste time making acronyms out of everything. The real world is so much more practical than all of this unnecessary acronym use and rebranding of things that should be going on already. And if they're not going on already, how about if we're going to make an acronym, how about we make it something about fixing the original design to make it work, not designing some new framework. Folks, there are STEM academies where students are pushed into this all STEM track. It's very sad and makes me mad. STEM should be eliminated. The use of it, it should be eliminated by the departments of education on the grounds of threatening the rights of our students to a free and appropriate education, which is called school. It is not called STEM or STEAM. And I may need to put on a blood pressure cuff here, folks. I don't know if we can break through the glass wall standing between the policymakers and the realities of our schools. It's an alarming situation, to say the least. And to be honest with you, it is exhausting to try to find solutions to. So I'll wrap up that segment, and as we near the end of tonight's rant, I thought I would introduce a new idea to the channel as I explore Twitter. If you are a Twitter user, I have made a Twitter account. I would like to encourage you to follow it. It is at Renegade, then the letter T, and then the letters CHER. So it's at Renegade, letter T, Teacher. So it's kind of a weird one, but the other one was taken, so I had to settle for this one. But as I explore the world of education on Twitter, I've started to find these little rabbit holes to explore, and different hashtags that I thought would be worth bringing to your attention. One of which was the hashtag ditch book, which seems to me to be based on this idea that textbooks are evil. And if you've been a fan of the channel, you know that I stand for not necessarily doing away with all use of traditional education techniques, the tried and tested strategies that a lot of us were trained with as professionals. I am not advocating lecturing and using textbooks all the time. Don't take me out of context here. Maybe I need to do more clarification. But the idea of doing away with textbooks entirely, or somehow tailoring all of the instruction for our youth to be this easy access TikTok video making, reaction video making, opinion-based, instant gratification assessments stuff. I'm not a fan. However, I ran across a gym. I ran across a I can't help but say a quite funny post. I'm not gonna name the person or the teacher that this is, but they posted a graphic, I guess, representing themselves on Twitter, and I just want to put this out there for you to let me just read what's on the graphic for you. It lists everything that this individual is in their school and their district, and it lists that they are a high school English teacher. They are also a high school Spanish teacher, so they're teaching multiple preps. And on top of that, here are the following responsibilities or titles that this person has. They are on the building leadership team. They are the district communications director. It looks like in terms of the social media accounts and things like that. They are listed here as the district webmaster. They are the district instructional tech coach. Folks, I'm not joking. They are also the yearbook person in charge of the yearbook. And last but not least, they are also the assistant softball coach. So, this is a tragedy. I feel horrible for the person. I'm assuming they didn't bring all of this on themselves. But that is disgusting that any individual could be expected to truly teach. I mean, it's no wonder we're in such a mess. If you just had a third of this level of responsibility on your plate, you would be completely overwhelmed. It's amazing. No wonder they've ditched the books. There's no time for it. It's amazing. The other post that I wanted to bring up to you before we wrap up the rant was one by a STEM proponent, a teacher, obviously a professional educator, someone who has a lot of experience in the classroom. And I'm not trying to tear this person down. Again, I'm not going to name them, but they share an activity with some video where they had their students create like a catapult system type device using a plastic cup and a few other pieces of material, and the idea is kind of awesome. It's something that works in terms of getting the students learning hands-on, using the multiple modalities. This is a cool activity, so don't get me wrong. But where I have a problem with it is when all of the hashtags, all of the identity of this idea on Twitter this teacher is sharing is plastered with STEM and STEAM and hashtag kids deserve it, hashtag ditch book. Folks, this epitomizes the misbranding. There's no reason why we should be calling this activity STEM or STEAM. This is something that could clearly perfectly fit into the curriculum of a normal science class. It's amazing to me how far lost we are in acronym world. It's almost like it's a competition to see who can end up speaking in pure acronym. This is amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the rant for tonight. This one's getting a little bit longer. I'm back in range. That's the good news. As our problems may be many, my energy with which to take them on is very strong. I fully expect to have some good material in the next transmission. Folks, if you're enjoying the content on the channel, please consider showing some support. Like the video, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next rant. As always, stay safe, and this is the Renegade Teacher signing off.